All right, so this war we have Chavez, CGR, and Scorp bans, which kind of feels personal after War 8. All right, so Nihilist boss, you've got Diablo and Carl, who's Absorbing Man. I don't know why I said that. Mephisto, Ghost, and Human Torch with Nova Flame. Spot, Blade, and Fury. Quicksilver, Ghost is the easiest, then Fury. Arcus, Dragon Man or Diablo. Hulkling, Diablo, Wiccan, Rintraw. Nova, you can take with Absorbing Man as well, or Diablo. And then Absorbing Man, any science champ that deals any red numbers. So Human Torch, Mr. Negative, Quicksilver, Mr. Fantastic, the list goes on. 1 through 3 on the way out, Infamous Doom, Gallon or Hulkling, Path 1, Mojo, Titania or S99, and then Omega Sentinel, Gallon, Easy Gallon, or Nebula. Path 2, Wiccan, you can use Human Torch, or you can go Titania S99. Domino, you've got Nimrod and Nebula, or Omega Sentinel. And then Path 3, Cap Sam, you can risk Corvus or go with Nebula and just beat him down. And then Nebula for Nimrod or Hulkling. 4 through 6 on the way out, Terrax, you've got Absorbing Man or Diablo on the way in. Cersei, you've got Diablo, maybe even Dragon Man, maybe one of the neutralizers like Wiccan or Rintraw. Path 4, Havoc, G99 Warlock. Null, you've got Doom, Shang-Chi, even Carl, or Absorbing Man. Path 5, Sasquatch, Mr. Negative, Human Torch, Titania. Yeah, that's about all that comes to mind. Oh, Rolk. And then Kitty Pryde, Nimrod, or Omega Sentinel. Path 6, the whole thing can be done with Ghost or Infamous Doom. 7 through 9 on the way out, Gore. You've got Diablo. You've got Dragon Man. And then on the way in, Mordo. You've got Ghost. You can take it with Absorbing Man. And then Path 7, Valkyrie. You've got Apocalypse and Omega Red, and then Warlock. You can use Nebula, Hulkling, Gallon. Path 8, Misty, you can go with Ghost or Iceman. And then Skrull, you can use Diablo or Dragon Man or any Mystic, really, with Neutralize. And then Path 9, Spidey Supreme, you've got Titania with Synergy or Ant-Man, and then Weapon X, you can use Omega Sentinel or Nimrod or Carl. 1 through 3 in Section 2 on the way in, Apocalypse. You can use Gallon is going to be your safest and easiest next to Overseer as well. But really, that's just, Quicksilver, S99, Mr. Negative, all do pretty well there. Maw, Overseer or Human Torch, and then Wong, Human Torch, or Rolk. 1 through 3 on the way out, Doom, you've got S99 or Overseer. Path 1, Rintraw, Overseer, or S99. Path 2, Man-Thing, S99 or Titania, and then Immortal Abomination, any poison immune, so Nebula or Nimrod. And then Path 3, Surfer, you've got Hulkling and Gallon. All right, and then 4 through 6 on the way out, Chavez, you've got Quicksilver, Doom, Mr. Negative. Path 4, you could probably get away with Human Torch, but Overseer's one of the top go-tos. Path 5, Thing, Absorbing Man or Valkyrie, and then Longshot, Mr. Negative or Human Torch, and then Path 6, Dragon Man, Quicksilver, Human Torch, Mr. Negative, list goes on. 7 through 9 on the way out, Fury, you can use Absorbing Man, you could use Rolk, you can use Apocalypse, and then Path 7, Kingpin, Apocalypse, or Omega Red, or you can use Omega Red for Fury as well. And then Magneto, Nimrod, Omega Sentinel, really anyone. Path 8, Gallon, use your neutralizers or a subdue option. So Wiccan, Rintraw, Kitty, or Tigra, and then Diablo or Dragon Man there. And then path 9, Void, you can take with Ghost, you can take with Shang-Chi, you can take with Jabari Panther, and then Penny is a pretty easy Hulkling fight. You could go in there with Absorbing Man as well. So that does it for defense. Let's take a look at attack. All right, War 9 is against Matrix, and I took bans personal because Chavez and CGR who I used last war, but this war, I get to use Quicksilver, Nebula, and Valkyrie for the first time. I have Path 5 in Section 1, Path 3 in Section 2, and a mini boss on Boss Island. So starting out, Path 5 here, Thing is the only reason I've brought Valkyrie. It's to completely counter Unstoppable, and that is about it. My game plan going into this was to only build Pierce buffs and not Bulwark. If you build both, the Fury ends up getting to be too much and you just trigger protection every time you throw a special 2. But it was to throw special 2 for the knockdown to trigger Ebb and Flow knockdown, and then just have the double Fury and take my openings into his block and into him when I have them. But I'm going to keep the video regular speed here. Because when I go to do this special 2, and I've done this in the off season before and I couldn't tell if this got fixed, so you can see there, special 2 knockdown does not remove the protection from Ebb and Flow. So we're going to speed this up because it's going to be significantly longer than it should, since we're going to be fighting with Ebb and Flow knockdown the entire fight. I could heavy at some point if I wanted to, but that gets rid of all my Pierce buffs, and I really, really, really don't want to lose the Pierce buffs during this fight. So it is what it is. So this is it. That was it. It was just don't get hit, counter Unstoppable. We've got the Fury from Special 2. We hit into block when we can. It's going to be our big damage dealer there. So yeah. I guess in theory, since I knew this wasn't going to knock him down, I could have thrown Special 2 into his block instead of at him. But who knew? I figured at least once I'd trigger Ebb and Flow knockdown, but it doesn't work out. So been reported, probably going to get fixed either with soon or with the next patch, who knows. I know this interaction happened with another protection node that involved knockdown. So Valkyrie's debut, nothing too crazy. Now we move on to our Quicksilver fights, and I was back and forth on taking these with Mr. Negative or Quicksilver, and I picked Quicksilver. Now Longshot was the only fight I was worried about with him, and it was because of karma buildup. So after a couple duels, I decided that I was going to parry medium between the stun hits and placing a non-damaging debuff from Whiplash. I figured I could keep his good karma down, but you can see there I intercepted a couple more times than I ever want to for this game plan, and he got Pure Heart. So just means I'm not really going to dex when I see him throw Special 1. There, he's out of Pure Heart, so we're good. But with this node, with Quicksilver, what you want to do is get to Special 2 and use it. And then after you've used the Special 2, detonate any Whiplash you have. And that's how this is going to go in the beginning. Sometimes special attacks are tough to get out while you're using Quicksilver, so there's a Special 2. And the only Whiplash we have at the moment is 5. Okay, so pay attention to that. 5. We're going to detonate him here. We have 8. And boom, takes like 50% of his health. So when that happens, leading up to that, I was a little worried. I was like, this might take a while. Plus he kept getting Pure of Heart. When that happened, I was like, oh, okay, fantastic. But here I'm trying to get this Special 1 out, and he gets really stubborn. So I decided to push him to Special 2. I figure let's go ahead and just bait Special 2. Won't be that big of a deal. And we end up eating it. So now we're fate sealed, so it's a little bit of a big deal. Decide to just go in with the Special 2 to knock him down. And the Special 1 that he ends up using eventually incinerates us. So yay. And then the Fury is about to expire, and there are no Whiplashes from baiting special attacks. So and blocking them instead of dexing. So it's whatever. I'm just going to punch away at him. Eventually we will get to this next special 2 and finish the fight. And aside from him throwing that special 2 and us eating it, this was actually a pretty good counter. Don't know that I'd do it again over our other options, but it works in a pinch. And the reason I picked Quicksilver over Mr. Negative is because of this Chavez. Quicksilver counters Chavez so freaking well. And that's all I wanted to do, was to make this fight super safe. So with this one having right back at it, which makes her debuff immune after I knock her down, I have to play this one differently than Longshot. And if you've watched any of my off-season videos, I already know the strat for this, and it's really just detonating the Whiplash while we've got the protection up. But you detonate the Whiplash before using special 2, you get that trauma debuff, so it does more damage, 70% more when they detonate. And they'll detonate before you knock her down from the special 2. So you get all that burst damage that you build up getting to special 2 from the Whiplash, and it doesn't go bye-bye from being debuff immune. The other thing that really makes him a good option for her is that his withers remove her dimensions, and it's a very easy access wither. You're going to place one every time you dex an attack. So if she sits here and spams heavy all day, it is not a big deal at all. I can just dex remove one of her dimensions, and we won't deal with an unblockable special 2 later. On top of that, if we haven't just knocked her down, the withers that we are placing on her is going to reverse the power gain from her special 1 as well. So if we get in a spot where she does have a bunch of dimensions up and we're just not dexing attacks and placing those withers, at least the ones we built up earlier in the fight will be there to prevent any massive power gain from special 1. So here she is, dimensionless. We're ready with our next special 2. This one is not going to quite kill her. We do not get good RNG with our Whiplashes before using that. Part of the reason is because I'm attacking while she's debuff immune here. So I'm building power without placing any Whiplashes, but you see with the Fury, she just goes down. Nice and easy. Super good counter for Chavez. We move on, Path 3 in Section 2. Unfortunately, I have to brute force this Cap Sam down with Nebula. So if Thing wasn't enough, we needed a Nebula on this path for the Nimrod afterwards, which is going to be cake. But here, I literally can do nothing but punch him in the face and place shock. So we're going to speed this fight up because it's a little over 3 minutes long. But I couldn't use a special 3 here and shock him down due to his duped ability, where he will instant rupture me anytime an offensive ability fails due to ability accuracy modification, and the glancing on this node counts. So if I'm locked on and those abilities are failing after the special 3, I'm just going to take a bunch of instant ruptures. So to play it safe, it was just beat down Cap Sam, build shock when we can, when he's being passive, and then transfer that shock to get this fight moving on a bit faster. So this is it. It's just sped up. We'll get to the end of this together, and then we'll move on to the next fight. All right, so now that that's over, we go on to this Nimrod here after healing up. And obviously Nimrod's going to be a lot easier. We'll just build 5 shock charges. I actually go through a combo first to start to see if I can build any shock from the node due to his armor up. But the glancing actually prevents it. So I end up having to block charge to get the 5 charges. But the game plan is to build the special 2 as we build charges once we get to 20. And we're a little past special 2, parry, throw the special 2, and fight. And that's it. We've done this one a lot. Nimrod is, a pretty easy thing to fight with Nebula. We may sometimes take a stray heavy here and there, but I mean, that goes for almost any fight where we're standing still blocking the whole time and just waiting for a heavy to come out. So almost there to 20 charges, almost there to the special 2. He's being really passive there, not throwing a heavy. Good. There's the parry. There's the special 2. Here's the double up of charges. There's the tick, 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 bye. So, satisfying Nebula fight, as always. And then my final fight is with Quicksilver. This Absorbing Man here. We're going to take it with Quicksilver here. Because the health pool is larger, we are going to go a bit different than our usual strat, which is just, detonate Whiplash mid special 2 and throw special 2. My game plan here was to get into terminal velocity. So I'm going to throw 1 or 2 special 1s as we build momentum. And depending on where my momentum is, I will throw that second special 1. If I'm not there, I'm going to just dex back until it happens. Heavy attacks are naturally going to be thrown here to deactivate Carl's different forms. So there's our first special 1. So far, so good. Building a lot of Whiplash so far. Plan is to get into terminal velocity, have special 2 ready there. I thought I had the spacing. I messed it up. No big deal. He's not refined, so it's fine. And then because I got hit there, decided to throw that special 1. So that pretty much guarantees that we're going to get into terminal velocity before we get to special 2. Game plan is to get to special 2 in terminal velocity, throw the special 2 without detonating Whiplash, double those charges, and since they'll be over 50, they will detonate on their own. The only thing we have to make sure with Absorbing Man is when we detonate those Whiplashes that he's not in Uru, because it's got some physical resistance, and that physical resistance prevents some of the trauma burst damage. So here we go. Double Whiplashes, still in terminal velocity. I'm going to block here so he doesn't throw a special 1, and boop. Goodbye, Absorbing Man. And that was the end of my very satisfying war with Quicksilver. Our battle group actually lost to theirs. They got a donut and we died once. However, we ended up winning this war 4-2. So, pretty solid win. Anything can happen at the end of the season, but we're definitely happy we got another 2-death war in for a victory. So our death range anywhere from 7 to 2. And Chavez ban proved that doesn't matter as much. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this war video. Hit subscribe, give it a like, and I will catch you guys at the next war.